Okay, let's do this as quickly as possible. Try and make it as simple as I mentioned, or tried to show in the previous clip, that the materials you need are 2 pieces of fabric. These happen to be 2 handy wipes that had been dried out in a container that we'd forgotten about, and they're about 12 and 11/16 inches by about 9, almost 9 inches, 8 and 15/16, but they could be 9 by 12 or whatever, around that size. 2 of them I found to have the most effective filtering. And so this is how to make it using, without sewing, how to make a mask without sewing and using simple office supplies, some packing tape, stapler removal for mistakes, hole punch, ruler, some twisty sticks, 1 or 2. I'm going to try and put 2 into this one, but these are about 8 and an 1/8 inch long, and 1 shoelace. Looks like it's about a 48 inch shoelace. Okay. So, first thing to do is to put the 2 sheets together. You just take a rough measurement. You line up the tape so it's only half covering the fabric and half off the fabric, so that you can turn it around and make a hem, basically, out of tape. Okay. Do the same for all 3 sides, all the remaining 3 sides, and of course do a better job of being able to tell where the tape ended up. Again, half on the fabric, half off. Turn the fabric assembly over and fold over the tape and create, again, a finished edge or hem on the fabric. We're ready to do this on the long sides. Forgot to trim these. Okay. Notice I start from the middle and then I press outward, try and reduce the amount of wrinkles in the fabric. Cut your extras. Trim the sides. One more. Okay. Doing good. So right now this is 2-ply, but we're going to make it 4-ply. And what we want to do is, I'm just going to put one of these in here because I think it's good enough. Try and straighten as much as possible. Anyway. Okay, so now we have our piece of wire in there that could help mold the mask around your nose. This is the top of the mask. Notice there's no tape on that. And now we're going to make some reinforcement corners, or reinforced corners, because we're going to punch holes in the corners and we want to make sure that they're strong enough. Now, this might not be the best kind of mask for treating coronavirus patients where you're treating one after the other, because those should be the masks that are tested to be effective in that role and or that use, and there's a big demand for those masks, and they should be dedicated to our frontline medical people who are treating actual patients, because they're the ones most at risk. So they need the good masks. But we could make our own masks and reduce the demand for masks overall. And if you're stuck without a mask, there's really not that much else you can do. So right now, again, we're still reinforcing the corners. Lost my tape. One more time. So I'm using about 1.25 inch piece of tape to make the corner, reinforced corners, so it can wrap around both sides. There you go. Okay. So now, here's the top. Again, we're gonna take our hole punch. We're gonna punch some holes in the corner. 4 corners, 1 in each corner, for the string that ties us behind your head. Kind of like a ribbon. Okay. Remember, here's the top. I'm going to fold this in half, and about 3/4 of an inch in, I'm going to put another staple, and then same here, about 3/4 of an inch, and then that gets your mask. And then okay, there's our mask. So the next thing we do is for the tie, just to make, this is a 48-inch piece of shoelace. Double it, cut in half. Double it, cut in half. Double it, cut in half. So anyway, this mask could be used for people in like rest homes or rehab places where you're only going to wear it for a few moments while you're doing your rounds, and you could reuse it from patient to patient because you're not dealing with infected patients. You're protecting your non-infected patients. So anyway, that's my 2 bits on that. But again, if we can reduce the demand on masks so that the people who are treating coronavirus patients, then that's a good thing. Or if you're at home and you don't have, you're unfortunate enough to not have an N95 mask, this might be the next best thing, or some other possibility, but this might help. So at this point, you really don't care too much about how good it looks or aesthetics. You just want to make sure it works, and you end up throwing it away anyway. The other point I wanted to make was that if you can replace the tape with sewing the edges, which would be easy for people to do who have a sewing machine, these could be washable and reusable. So it's another thing to think about. So you're basically just taking the strings and you're making something that you can use to tie it around the back of your head. And oops, not enough lead there. Okay. So we're just tying knots and using tape and staples. So basically, office supplies for your mask. And this is what it looks like when you're wearing it. So I hope you found this hopeful or helpful, and perhaps even hopeful. Anyway, good luck and stay safe.